Okay, I'm going to tell you how do you maintain a weed-free asparagus bed, and you can do this on the ground. I happen to have it on a 2-foot tall block raised bed, but because I don't like to bend over. But if you have yours asparagus on the ground, perfectly fine. Just go ahead and layer on what I'm using here is pole shavings. What they have is, and it might become more and more popular throughout the United States, but it's simply wood, and they shave it from poles. You've seen poles in landscaping. They're 3-inch or 4-inch poles used to hold up brand new trees and stuff like that. Well, this is the shavings from that, and it's only $15 a yard where I'm getting it from, and you can't find bark or nothing that costs $15 a yard. I mean, that's just flat out cheap. So I put it on a foot thick. As you can see, it's a foot thick. These are 8-inch blocks, and that is for sure at the middle there. At the very edge, of course, it falls off, but in the middle, it's a foot deep. So it is wonderful, and the asparagus have no problem coming through it. The asparagus, of course, go through dirt to get out into the sunlight. And so coming through this is no problem. As you can see, even the thin ones, you can see little tiny thin ones. We're talking really small. These things here are so small they're not a pencil. You know what I mean? They're not even pencils. So they're super small, but look at how thin that is. And so it just comes right up. So it's not an issue at all. And of course the big ones, these ones here are gigantors. And of course you'd think they would make it through, but even the thin ones do. But what's nice is you get white asparagus. Have you ever seen asparagus before? When it's white, it's because it hadn't seen sunlight. And they get colored when they start seeing sunlight. Well, as you go through here, like me, when I go to pick these things, I don't just cut them off like you would like the ground level, when you would dirt. No, what I do is I just go down and keep on going. I try to miss the ones that are growing next to them. But as you see, the more I go down, it's just white. And so then I cut it down here, and it's still just as tender. I mean, it's super tender down there. And so I'm getting there's a whole foot one right there, and I'm not even down to the bottom yet. So anyway, that's how you do it. So you just cut it down there, and then you put the stuff right back over it, and no weeds, period. I have the weed place next door. They just constantly have weeds coming from his property. He doesn't maintain it. So I had to deal with weeds all the time in this bed. But now I don't have to. Weeds can't grow. And then this stuff here conditions the soil too. So it's really nice about it. It's conditioning the soil the whole time it's there, because it's letting bugs and other good creatures down below live there and thrive. And it doesn't let any weeds grow, because no weeds can get started. Even if a weed seed came in, it couldn't get started. There's no way for it to go down a foot deep or whatever. And so even if somehow a little bit of dirt somehow accumulated on there and some weed seed grew, you just pull right out. It would be no sticking. There's no way it could actually stick, because it had to go have 12 inches of root. So that wouldn't work. So anyway, fantastic, good idea, great idea, and your asparagus come right through. Now, as far as for beds, for gardening, since I'm done with that now, I'm going to branch into how to have garden beds now that'll also allow you to grow, but have this stuff here keeping your thing mostly weed free. So let's assume this bed here is on ground level, since a lot of you don't have the killer block wall beds like I have. I don't like to bend over, so we're talking 2 foot tall. I mean, I still got to bend over a little bit, but they're 2 foot tall. I got them on a concrete footing foundation and everything else. So, but here, if you have a ground bed and you want to keep it mostly weed free, do the same thing. Just pile it with 4 inches, 6 inches, or whatever you got of the same stuff. Then what you want to do is, like, I have all my waters all set up through this whole bed area, and I have individual waters set up like that right here. And so I would just go ahead and dig down until I get to dirt. And so here I'm at dirt, like 6 inches below or whatever. And then you just plant your plant right there, and it would just grow. Your water is right here. It'd be all set up, and it would just grow right there, period. So it doesn't hurt you to have this stuff here. So the rest of the bed's weed free, except where you have a plant. Like if I wanted a squash right there, or tomato plant or whatever, I just plant it right there. It would grow up out and be taller, of course, than the bark. and become mostly weed free. I think this stuff looks gorgeous, and that's absolutely perfect. Anyway, if you have any questions or anything, put them down below.